Alright there guys, and welcome back to a brand new video. Today, we're gonna delve into some unpopular gaming opinions. That's right, we all have them. I'd love to know what your guys' unpopular gaming opinions are in the comments. But for this video, I've got 3 of my own. Okay, let's start off with the first one, which is Hitman Absolution is the best Hitman game. That's right. A lot of people do not like Hitman Absolution because of how because it's a very linear game. I can understand that, but I think the game's better when it's more linear, because just because it's linear doesn't mean there isn't multiple ways to take down every single target you have. And you guys saw how angry and frustrated I got last year on my Hitman 2016 Let's Play, where I struggled so hard to take down my target. I mean, the final episode of the series, I literally had to run through a crowd of guards just to barely escape the mission I was doing alive. But you see, Hitman Absolution, for me, has a much better story than any other Hitman games. I mean, Hitman Absolution's story is consistent. We have 47 almost killing Diana Burnwood just as before finding out that why she betrayed the agency because of the experiments they did on Victoria. Then 47 proceeds to betray the agency as well. So the agency go to the real main villain of the game, Blake Dexter, who is one of the funniest villains I've ever seen. He's hilarious. He's an amazing villain. He has his own crew of villains that some of them are funny and some are not, but more than not. The gameplay is good. Cover-based shooting, the point shooting mechanic is really good. As far as I'm aware, I don't remember ever being able to use that same ability in the Hitman 2016 game. Now yes, it is slightly frustrating how whatever disguise you are in, every single other person in that disguise somehow instantly knows or is instantly suspicious of you, even if you haven't done anything. And in the newer Hitman games, that's not always the case. But the being able to hide in wardrobes, of course, was also in the newer Hitman games, but storing bodies, that was of course also in the games, but Hitman Absolution just has a much more consistent story than the 2 newer Hitman games. So if the second Hitman game, the Hitman 2018 game, becomes free on the PlayStation Store, I'm not sure if I'll Let's Play it, because I know for a fact I would just get incredibly frustrated again, for the same reasons I got frustrated in the first one. But if Hitman Absolution ever got a remaster, oh, you better believe I'd be Let's Playing that. The consistency of the range of weapons in Hitman Absolution is a good thing to have, but you can also just stick to your silver ballers, which are 47's classic original pistols that get the job done. Having a point scoring meter at the top of the screen for when you take enemies down, whether you take out targets, whether you get spotted, kill civilians, kill non-targets, all that kind of stuff. The other games have it, but it was done the best, in my opinion, in Hitman Absolution. So, what's unpopular gaming opinion number 2 is The Simpsons game is better than any other Simpsons game released, including Hit and Run. That's right. I believe that the Simpsons game that was released in 2007 is the best video game made about the Simpsons. And it's 13 years later, and I still am hoping for a sequel to be announced and released because of how good it is. I mean, for God's sake, the Simpsons game is in my top 10 favorite games ever. To me it's that good. The Simpsons game follows the Simpsons being in a video game world where they can infinitely respawn if they die or fall off a cliff or anything like that. But the story, how it's consistent with a lot of Simpsons game stories involving the aliens, because the Simpsons Hit and Run the main villains in that game are the aliens, and the main villains of the Simpsons game are aliens. Well, the aliens and God himself. But it's the first time. I mean, the hub world for the Simpsons game is just like the Hit and Run, Springfield, but in the Simpsons game, you can attack anyone you want and nothing bad will happen. Because in the Simpsons Hit and Run, if you attacked people, your hit and run meter went up, and then the cops came after you. Of course, the Simpsons game's main focus is a video game manual for the Simpsons game that God has, and he throws it at the windowsill when he gets annoyed. It's supposed to just land on the windowsill, but it hits it and falls down straight in front of where Bart is in Springfield. And from then on, it's just an amazing experience. All the powers are references to different Simpsons episodes, such as Homer's power-ups is the Homer Ball. As far as I know, that's an Simpsons game exclusive, but the Gummy Homer attack, where you can shoot gummy grenades, is from the episode where Homer went to the Springfield Candy Convention with Marge, and he took a the rarest piece of candy there, which was a gummy candy. And then he got accused of sexual harassment by Lisa and Bart's babysitter because the gummy was stuck to her pants and he pulled it off. Homer's invincible ability is the Insanity Pepper, which of course was used in the episode where Homer goes to the Springfield Chili Convention, I think it was called, or basically where there's a lot of chili, really hot chili, and Homer is famous there for being able to handle it. Of course, when he goes to Chief Wiggum's, he has the Insanity Pepper, and it burns Homer's tongue. But he drinks wax from a candle, goes back, and eats all the Insanity Peppers. Of course, the Insanity Pepper ability turns Homer into into Homer Ball, but on fire. Everything he touches dies in one hit. Bart's powers are Bartman, which of course is a parody of Batman, where he has a cape, a mask, and a belt, but the belt has a video game controller at the front of it, which is quite cool and funny. And he has Robo-Bart. I don't know if that's a reference to a Simpsons episode or not. Maybe you guys might know. I mean, I've only watched the first 10 seasons of The Simpsons, and there's 30 seasons. I've watched less than half of the show's entire run of episodes. Lisa's super ability is Clobber Girl, which I'm pretty sure is a reference to a Treehouse of Horror episode, maybe. And Marge has her super ability is Cop Marge, referencing the episode when Marge became a police officer and arrested Homer, which was quite funny. But the gameplay is great, and every single cutscene in the entire game is animated by the animators of the show themselves. Every single cutscene in the game looks like it's part of the show, and that still stands as the only Simpsons game ever on console. No, I'll rephrase that. The Simpsons game remains the only Simpsons game not on handheld or mobile to have animated cutscenes from the show's animators themselves. But yeah, and also a quarter of the way through the Simpsons game, the aliens appear in Springfield and the sky becomes dark and you suddenly have to fight aliens in the hub world, which adds a little change of pace to the hub world areas, which is always a welcome addition. And every single episode of The Simpsons has some sort of every single chapter of the game has some sort of reference to either a Simpsons episode or something else. I mean, Chapter 1, The Land of Chocolate, references Homer's dream of the Land of Chocolate when Mr. Burns sold the nuclear power plant to some German businessmen. Chapter 2 is literally a reference to Batman Begins. Chapter 3, Around the World in 80 Bytes. I know that's a reference to something else called... I think it's a reference to a song called Around the World in 80 something else, but I can't remember what. Lisa the Tree Hugger. I mean, we have Loggers, we have Mr. Burns. Chapter 5, we have Grand Theft Scratchy, which is a reference to GTA. Number 6, Chapter 6, Enter the Cheatrix, a reference to Enter the Matrix. Of course, has references to Mario and Sonic as well. Chapter 7, Day of the Dolphin, references the Treehouse of Horror episode when the dolphins became evil. Chapter 8, The Colossal Donut, Shadow of the Colossal Donut, a reference to Shadow of the Colossus, and makes Lard, who's part of the Treehouse of Horror episodes, a boss battle. Chapter 9 includes the aliens. Chapter 10 is the has Will Wright, the creator of SimCity and The Sims. We have Chapter 11, NeverQuest, which is a reference to Lord of the Rings. Chapter 12, which literally is a reference to even more of a reference to GTA. Chapter 13, Medal of Homer, which is of course reference to Medal of Honor. Chapter 14, Big Super Happy Fun Game, a reference to anime. Chapter 15 has Matt Groening himself, which also has Bender and Zoidberg from Futurama as enemies to fight. And Chapter 16, we have God himself, and quite a few things we've seen throughout the game. So yeah, the Simpsons game has a lot of content, including collectibles that you can pick up in every single mission, and which includes 75 collectibles for all 4 characters within Springfield. I've never collected all the collectibles in every single level, but I've come close. And I've never collected all the collectibles for anyone in Springfield. I just never had the time to do it. But that's why my unpopular opinion is the Simpsons game released in 2007 is the best Simpsons game. And hell, there's so many different versions of the game, such as the PS3 and the Xbox 360 versions of the game are the same, but the PS2 version and the Nintendo Wii versions are the same, but they're not the same as the Xbox 360 and PS3 versions. The gameplay and level design well, no, not the gameplay really, but the level design is actually different depending on which versions of the game you get. Like, what games do that? What games have, depending on which console generation you get the game for, the level design is different, giving you a different experience depending on which version you pick. Okay, on to the third and final unpopular gaming opinion, and that is Bethesda have never made an amazing game. That's right, I said it. In my opinion, Doom, not amazing. Dishonored, not amazing. Fallout, not amazing. Elder Scrolls, not amazing. Yeah, I'm calling Skyrim not amazing. Now, why do I think Bethesda games are not amazing? Well, I have a few different ones to talk about. We have, I'll talk about Dishonored first. The first Dishonored game, I started playing in early 2016, and when the game was simply sword versus sword combat, I loved it. I really enjoyed the game. I thought it was amazing. But as soon as the enemies started using guns, that's where my love for the game instantly disappeared. Didn't enjoy the game anymore. Because when the enemies used guns, that's all they used. Even though they had their swords out, they always used their guns. And I couldn't dodge them. I know if you can use blink, or you can use different powers to slow time down. But if they're aiming the gun like this and I'm running and they shoot, I shouldn't dodge the bullet because I'm running. I'm a moving target, so I'm harder to hit. But nope, they get me every single time. And that is where my love for Dishonored stopped. If the game was simply sword combat only, just exclusively sword combat, I would really love the game. Now, Doom. Doom is, I'm referring to the 2016 Doom, the remake of Doom that came out. Now, that game's multiplayer, it has a good multiplayer. But the campaign, there's a certain section I got stuck on, I could just never make it past it. It's where you had to continuously climb up ledges, but some ledges I just could not make it up, and I had no idea why, and I couldn't find a way to get up there. So I gave up on Doom. Now then, Fallout. Oh boy, I hate Fallout. Like, Fallout is literally one of my least favourite video game series I've ever played. Fallout 3 and Fallout 4, in my opinion, are awful games. They are terrible games. Because you don't know if you have the equipment to progress in the story until you actually get to the mission. And also, power suits, the power armor, and the fusion cores you need to power it cost so much, so many bottle caps, and there was just, no matter how hard I looked, I could not find any anywhere. I had to sell pretty much everything I had, and I still didn't have enough for one fusion core in Fallout 4. That's terrible game design in my opinion. Very, very terrible game design. And Skyrim, Skyrim has great gameplay. Good side quests, good missions, but when it tells you need a certain item to progress in the story, and you have no idea how to get it, that's very frustrating. Because I remember when I was playing Skyrim back in 2015, I needed a lockpick to continue on with the story mission I was currently doing, but I didn't have any, but there weren't any around, and I had no idea where to look to get one. Like, the Bethesda games have these little tiny things that make such a massive impact and frustration that make you want to stop playing. And that's what it has, and that's how it's felt for me. So, Hitman Absolution is the best Hitman game, the Simpsons game is the best Simpsons game, and Bethesda have never made a single amazing game. Those are my 3 unpopular opinions for the video. If I come up with any more, I'll be sure to make another video. But that's going to be the end of this video. Hope you guys have enjoyed. Please be sure to leave a like, subscribe if you're new, follow me on all my social medias, and until next time guys, catch you later.